Hey guys, this video is brought to you by G Fuel Energy. G Fuel is the official energy drink of esports. I love G Fuel because it's a healthy alternative to any other energy drink. G Fuel is filled with vitamins and minerals. It has 0 carbs, 0 sugars, and 15 calories. My favorite flavor this week is Clickbait. It tastes so good and it helps me be better at all of the video games I like to play on Twitch. G Fuel is available in lots of gas stations nationwide, or you can go online and use the code Natalie for a special discount. All right, let's start the show. Welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. Oh my God, I love watching guest response to my intro video.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite
I couldn't even
things.
tell it was on for a second, yeah.
I am joined in studio with the Wolf and the Fox.
Oh,
Neat.
wow.
Oh,
How
I see what you did there.
exciting
Themed
is that?
episode? Is that why you did it?
It's not why I did it, but it happened.
Okay.
I am here with the amazing Robbie Fox and Jamie Wolf. How are you guys?
Good. I'm
Great,
doing well. Yeah, we
Yeah,
were
we're
just
having a
talking
good time.
about it. It's a good day.
It's a good day.
It's a good day. I mean, even for you.
It is. Today I got out of jury duty, and
Yeah.
that is
Amazing.
a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Robbie, I've been wanting to have you on for a while.
I appreciate that.
You have a wrestling podcast.
Yep.
You work at Barstool.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I do wrestling, MMA, nerdy shit,
Yeah.
music stuff at Barstool.
Yep.
I've worked there for like 5 years.
Okay.
Right out of high school, I was applying since I was like 13.
Okay.
And then I finally got hired when I like first got into college, and then I dropped out one semester in. And I
Whoa.
wasn't going to college. I was going to Bergen Community College, like every other kid from Jersey. But yeah, it's a good time. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about Barstool itself. I feel like I'm not the typical bro jock Barstool.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the Francis Ellis?
Do you have anything to say about persistence?
Persistence,
Because
yeah.
you're telling me you
Oh,
applied
sure.
since you were 13.
True. I sent
Yeah.
literally hundreds of like applications.
Wow.
I was doing my own podcast, and I started my own website in high school.
Okay.
To try to just like I would blog every day and send them sample blogs. And it
Wow.
eventually got like annoying for them too. They were
Sure.
like, "Please stop."
They're like,
I got my first email back from Big Cat when I was 14, and he just said like, "Dude, we cannot hire a 14-year-old." I was like, "All right, understood." But that's my foot in the door. Like you responded, so I'm in.
Yeah.
And the first time I met Dave, I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you. I'm an intern. Like, my name's Robbie." He was like, "Robbie Fox?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You designed the worst T-shirts I've ever seen." I was like, "I know. I was just trying. Like, I was really trying to get my foot in the door in any way I could."
Wow. So what would your advice be for, do you have advice? Would you do it all again like that if you could? Or would you just shut up until you had something that you felt good about?
No, I think I would do it like that again because
Yeah.
I feel like the persistence, even now, like the people that I look for and like not hiring interns, but like helping people like run our social media accounts or something. If people that are fans want to reach out, like the people that reach out every day with content are like the key. So many people reach out every day and say like, "I'll do anything to do this," but the people that actually like send it and is like, "Here's what I made," like that's the key to. I see so many people at Barstool get hired like that. Like if they just edit videos of like us doing stupid stuff.
Wow.
I feel the same way. I feel like I want to work with people that have shown initiative and genuinely want to work with me.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of, this is my therapist says, like, love is an action. I know that's so cheesy, but it's literally like, you actually made this shit. Like, you actually made something. You took the time. Like, you made a poster with all my tattoos on it or something. Like, you put the time into it. You didn't just say, like, "Oh, that's cool. I want to do that."
Yeah.
And I feel like that, like, time shows how much you care about something, and that's a great example of like why you would hire someone or work with someone.
It's kind of the opposite of like having sex with someone,
Tell us more.
because you have to act like you're not into it to fuck someone.
That's so
But to
true,
get a
Jamie.
job, you have to be like so
Oh.
into. Like if someone had been, if he had been emailing you since he was
Oh,
13,
I'd be like, "You're a
That would be
fucking."
weird. That would be
Yeah.
bad.
When
I
I
would be
turn
maybe
18,
in
could we-
prison by the time I made it to 18.
Well, she would
Yeah.
be maybe, but
But if it was
Oh,
a
yeah,
rom com, then we'd wind up together.
Oh, like
yeah,
licorice
exactly.
pizza?
Yeah, like
Did you
licorice
see- yeah,
pizza.
it was-
Yeah, very unrealistic.
Yeah.
Because you can't care about the other person.
15 and 25. What are we doing there?
Yeah, yeah.
And then Jamie is an amazing stand-up comedian. We just did a gig together
We did,
in
yeah.
Orange County, New York, and you're hilarious.
Thanks.
And how long have you been doing comedy?
5 years now.
5 years.
Yeah, I moved here to start comedy, which is the dumbest thing you could possibly do.
And I completely disagree. I think starting in New York is very smart.
Yeah, why would that be
Interesting.
dumb? Is because the crowds are harsher?
Well, because it's just the worst place to start. Like people who
Why?
start, I know people who
I
start in
disagree
like.
completely.
No, but I know
for
pe-
the record.
Okay. Like someone's judging it. Does Natalie disagree? I
She's
need to
on
know.
jury duty still. Like,
Yeah.
she's in
I
that
am on
brain
the
set.
jury.
You're like overruled. We're like that's not.
Yeah.
I'm still in the mindset of a long trial.
So I don't think. Yeah, I just think because I know people that came up in like Chicago or Philly and like Shane Gillis and people in Boston that came up and they had like. They didn't have any pressure when they were coming up. There's no one who was important that ever saw them do sets. The first open mic I ever did, Mark Normand was at the open mic.
But can I
And
say he
he
didn't
was-
remember you,
No, of course.
and
Yeah.
no one
well,
will
that's,
remember you, and no one's watching
But
you, so
he'll
it doesn't
always
matter.
remember
That's a
that.
good point. That's a really good point.
You know?
But I will always.
Yeah.
And
Where
I
did
feel
you
like,
move from?
From Santa Barbara, California. I'm from Philly, but I went to
damn.
school there. I moved
Is
here.
in LA an awesome comedy scene? Why not stay
No,
with the
LA
nice
is
weather?
it's a very common misconception. Very
Oh,
bad
really?
comedy scene.
Just
yeah.
because Rogan always talks about the store, and that's the misconception now?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that is what it is. They just don't have very many places to get up. I don't think it's anyone's fault,
Yeah.
but I do think the whole city is bad at comedy.
And
No.
spread out?
Talk
I
that
feel
much
like
shit.
New York pushes you to write, and
Yeah.
I feel like even that pressure is like, as much as it sucks, like being like, oh my god, Mark Norman was at my first open mic or something like that.
Yeah.
It's actually healthy. Like you're a very good writer, and I feel like that's what pushes you ahead for. And I feel like maybe you wouldn't have pushed yourself to write the same way if you had more of a laid back comedy scene to come up in.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
that's why I feel like New York is such a good place to start, because there's that kind of pressure. There's like people that are hustling in a way that they're not in other comedy scenes. And I feel like sometimes I'll go to other cities and I'll like meet comedians that I think are really talented, but I'm like, oh my God, if you were in New York, you would really excel because you'd just be pushed to be at like your maximum capacity of excellence.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Like there's the element, but that's why I think I shouldn't have started here because I missed the whole part where comedy's fun at all, and then I just went right to the like it's a job element of it, which isn't always fun.
Yeah.
It can be the saddest. Yeah. It's not fun.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fun being a comedian, guys. You're not selling me on it.
No, it's great. Now it's the best,
Okay.
especially when you're starting out. It kind of sucks in New York specifically.
Yeah.
I think it would have been fun the whole time if I started somewhere else and moved here.
That makes sense.
I don't think anyone's happy in New York. I think part of being a New Yorker is being miserable.
Yeah, it's hating it. That's
So
true.
like
The struggle.
yeah, like New York, like part of it is like being a miserable fuck and like being depressed, smoking a cigarette in the rain and it's dirty and it smells like piss and you're like, I'm a New Yorker and I hate my life.
Yeah, homeless
Yeah.
guy yelling at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, guy coming up to you. I want money for crack specifically.
Yeah.
Could I have money for my crack?
I got palm striked by a homeless guy recently.
No way,
Swear,
really?
In the shoulder. It wasn't like a hard, like in the face or anything.
Jesus, dude.
But he was on like the corner of like 6th and 28th, which is
Yeah.
right by our office. And he was like completely 90 degrees slouched over looking at the ground.
Yeah.
So I just went to walk around him and he whipped around and like palm struck me in the shoulder. And I was like, whoa. And then I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm just going to want to walk away.
Yeah, you can't be the guy who then beats up the
Beats up a
homeless
homeless guy
Yeah.
that's slouched 90 degrees. But yeah, it was. And after that, he actually ran right into the street, kind of like Frogger style.
Wow.
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
New York.
York
Concrete
City,
jungle where
baby.
dreams are made of.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's where I started comedy. And you started here too.
I did start
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Jamie, what is the best advice you've ever received?
Well, the best advice I've ever is it someone saying it to me? Because I thought of the best advice I've ever.
It can be anything.
Okay.
People will say things that they've received from themselves on trips. It can really be anything.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, now I want to do that. That's more interesting than what I'm going to say.
Yeah. I had too much coffee and I got released from jury duty, so I'm obviously not on this planet right now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll just say the thing. So I like reading self-help books. I enjoy self-help books. And I read this one called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's like the most popular one. Yeah. And the first piece of advice is the one that changed my life. It's just don't try.
Interesting.
That changed my life. I think
It's the opposite of Robbie's advice.
just a real yeah, I know, persistence.
Yeah.
But it's not, they're not opposed. I think people think they're opposed, but they're not. Like, don't try, I feel like, is more acceptance of it not going the way you might want it to go. Like, you shouldn't push something that's not there, you know? If you're trying to fuck someone, you don't like keep going, you know? You don't try.
Rape. No
Definitely
rape.
good advice
I know,
for
yeah, exactly.
No rape.
That's great advice, honestly,
Yeah.
to not rape. But no, I mean, like, don't try. That's the worst way to get laid if you want to get laid, is to try to get laid. The worst way to be funny, I think, is to try to be funny.
Jamie knows a lot of my listeners don't get laid, so he knows like what kind of advice to bring to the table. He's saying stop.
Get a haircut.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
like that one, you know? People say that to me all the time. Like,
Really?
no way, man. Yeah.
No, I like your hair,
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
your hair's good.
Appreciate it.
but
Yeah.
getting a haircut would be trying. I think.
No,
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's hard
Talk
to.
to-
It's
talk
hard
to
to
me more
phrase.
about
I
not
know
trying.
it's hard to phrase the way that I feel about it, but it's more like it's not. You shouldn't try to succeed at anything. It's more that you should, one, accept when you fail, and then two, you shouldn't force anything.
Can you give me an example of when you took this advice and felt like it was really gratifying?
Yeah, it's like whenever I write comedy, sometimes I'll sit down to write jokes, and that never ever works.
Yeah.
When I sit down and go, what's something that's funny? That's never going to be funny. The best way to get a joke is to live your life, and then you just have a thought that's funny, and then you say that on stage. But you can't like go on stage and try to like, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more about just doing it enough that you say funny things on stage, and then you repeat them.
Yeah.
But it's not like you can't like try. It's not a formula. You just
Yes.
can't be funny like that.
Someone messaged me advice yesterday, and I feel like I'll ask you this question. It was
Yeah.
about comedy. They said, "Hey Natalie, I feel like I'm trying to write comedy, and I feel like I have all of these ideas. And how do I pick which one to write about? And how do I pick which one is the funniest that I should write about?" And I said, "Well, you should
Yeah.
just write all of them."
Yeah.
What would you say?
Yeah, that's
That
correct.
just write all of them. But
Just
I feel
write
like
all
it kind
of
of
them.
right. It kind of speaks to the don't try, because I feel like that's trying. That's overthinking it, and like
Yes.
that's kind of like that. I think people when they're
Yes.
starting out or they're trying to get into comedy, they're kind of overthinking it to this point where they're like, which one, blah blah blah, and it's
Yeah. Which one?
Also, it's probably going to end up being the one that they least expect because they're thinking about it the less and trying the least, I suppose, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's
Right.
yeah, that's so true. Overthinking comedy is like the worst kind of comedy. When I overthink the jokes, it's always the worst
yeah.
stuff comes out. But I think it's more about that. Like in terms of your story, it's not like you tried so hard that you got it. It's like you were
No.
you just because you weren't. I
And
don't
when
think,
I got it too, I was hired as a golf intern. I don't know anything about golf. It just so happened the golf guy needed an intern, and I was willing to work for free.
But it's the main thing is like you're not trying to be interested in Barstool. That's just a reflection of who you are.
Yeah,
You
true.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're not
no, yeah.
forcing that part.
Yeah.
You're trying to succeed at the thing you like, but you're not trying to like something that you don't.
No, that's fact.
You
Yeah.
know?
I was
It's
just a fan of it.
Exa-
And I
yes.
looked at like I was like, it looks like everyone that works there has fun just like being friends.
Yeah.
And like watching sports together and like literally just making dick jokes and fart jokes and like that seems fun.
Yeah.
So that became what I wanted to do. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I will say this brings me back to my favorite show of all time, which is RuPaul's Drag Race, and
Okay. How does this bring us back to Drag Race?
because so at the end, RuPaul decides who's going to stay based on the lip sync. Like two queens, the two bottom queens have to lip sync for their lives. They have to do like a lip sync. to a
Bottom
song.
queens, is that a
No, the two queens that did the worst in the challenges
Okay.
have to lip sync, yes,
Oh.
to see who's gonna stay. And you can tell that RuPaul picks based on who wants it the most and like who put their heart into it the most.
right.
And the episode I watched last night, this queen was going wild. She flipped her shoe off. Her outfit was coming off. Like she was going crazy. Her
Yeah.
hair was all over the place. And like she stayed because you could tell like how much she wanted it. And I feel like there's a difference between like trying in a superficial way and like putting your heart into something, and that's the distinction.
Yeah, exactly. And you can always tell.
I was
too.
gonna say it's so transparent.
It's so obvious. Yeah. I know. I mean, in comedy, it's like the easiest to tell. You're like who's just hanging out because they want to hang out around comedy, and who like wants to do comedy.
Absolutely.
And they're not trying to like be the guy who they just like it more.
Yes. I have a question for you. So I had Sam Roberts on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And I asked him the best advice he had ever received. And he said a wrestling term, like one of this wrestling advice, which was no sell and baby face, right?
Yeah.
And I took that and I've been thinking about it for a very long time. And when I went on Jim and Sam, I said, I've been thinking about that a lot. And he goes, so what do you think that means? And I don't even think I have the right interpretation of it, but I've been thinking about it a lot. No sell and baby face as kind of like...
well, those are two like separate terms.
They are two separate terms, right? No sell being like, don't show things affecting you.
Yep.
And baby face kind of being the baby face.
Being the good guy.
Being the good guy.
Yeah.
What would your interpretation of those of that advice be?
Like no sell and baby face. Like don't let people see that they're getting to you no matter what.
Yeah.
And always like put on a smile. It sounds like he's saying, to me at least.
That advice, that wrestling advice, I took for so long. And as like a wrestling person, I just was curious about your take on that.
That's like something that people say in wrestling. And it's like almost like there were controversial examples where like women were told that when like they were getting assaulted or whatever, which is bad when they're like, don't let them see that they're getting to you. And it's like, really, just go tell somebody about that.
Right.
But that's like long term, like don't let the crowd see that they're getting to you. Don't let the people backstage see that they're getting to you. Nobody. And I feel like wrestling and comedy is actually like pretty similar in a lot of ways. Like the way indie wrestlers come up, it's like the more shows you work, the better. If you're in the right area, it's going to help you. Like it's the experience. It's the people that really want it versus the people that just want to be around the culture. There's so many interesting similarities, I think, between like startup comedians and startup professional wrestlers.
Yeah. Are there mics for wrestling?
There's
You have to write your name down and you pull it out of a bucket. Natalie, you're wrestling now.
In wrestling school, they kind of have like stuff like that.
Oh, they have a school for wrestling?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be a wrestler. I actually went to wrestling school for a summer.
And what happened?
I mean, look at me, you know, like I got my ass kicked and I was like, this hurts so bad at all times. It was just not for me. And I was so like disheartened. I was actually like kind of depressed at that point because I was like, damn, I thought I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Now I can't. But yeah, there were like, I realized there were other ways to be around that industry. Like writing about it and stuff, covering it like that.
I love the idea that you're like, I wanted to be a wrestler. The only thing that was in my way was the wrestling.
The wrestling was so painful. It was so hard. Yeah, it was tricky. Every practice, I was puking.
Yeah,
I was driving from like Lyndhurst to Rahway, if you know Jersey.
I do know Rahway.
Yeah, famous for the prison. Yeah,
I do know Rahway.
It was not good.
No.
What is the best advice you ever received?
So I was thinking about this. It's also not advice that was like directly like said to me by somebody. But it was my first tattoo. I got "Why Not" tattooed on my wrist, and it's from a Kevin Smith, speaking of Jersey, like stand-up special. And he tells a story about his father dying and how his father was like a great guy, post office worker, never did anything bad in his life, but he died of a heart attack, screaming, thinking he was on fire. Like the worst death you could imagine. Oof. And it made Kevin Smith realize if such a great man like my father could die in such a horrific way, why not do everything you want to do in life? Like try everything because you never know when that's going to happen. Yeah. So like try everything. And when someone comes to you with an idea, don't be the guy that says why. Like there's so much why in the world. There's so much, hey, I want to be a stand-up comedian. Why? It's so hard. Like, are you going to make it? Hey, I want to make a movie. Hey, I want to start a podcast. Like, be the guy who's like, yeah, why not? Let's do it. I'll do an episode. Like, do as much as you can to help other people because that'll help you. That's the most, like, I've been happy is, like, helping other people and seeing that succeed, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, the why not thing is, like, be a why not person, he says. And I like that.
Wow, I like that. That is a positive outlook. And I feel like the more I think negatively of other people, the more I feel like other people are thinking negatively and defensively about me. Like if
Yeah.
I'm thinking like why about things, then I imagine
Yeah.
other people are thinking that in
Definitely.
the
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no one wants to be around the person that's like that, you know?
Yeah.
Just like if you were like,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna at 13 when we were 13, if we were friends, and you're like, I think I'm gonna email Barstool. I'd be like, why?
I know. I had a lot of that. You know, it was like friends want to go out on Saturday, and I'm like, I got to cover the UFC event. And they're like, you're blogging to nobody. I'm like, I'm blogging to some people. Like, come on. So
Yeah.
it's like a lot of that. I dealt with so much why that it was like frustrating. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my, I heard that when I was 13, and I was like, that's going to be my first tattoo. I was
Wow.
like, so like into that notion, and it completely, like you said, changed my life.
Yeah.
Like, I truly like live my life by that every day.
Yeah.
That's
why not?
awesome. When I was a barista, I was doing comedy. That's when I started comedy, and I feel like people be like, "So what else do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm a comedian." They're like, "Oh yeah, cool, I'm sure." And now I get DMs sometimes that are like, "Oh my god, I recognize you from
No way.
Variety. You're totally that barista." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am."
That's so awesome.
That's fucking right. I did serve you your fucking flat white,
I got a
and
DM
I spit in
from,
it too.
I got a DM from someone saying they recognized me from my high school movie theater concessions job once.
Isn't it the
Wow.
They're like,
best?
did you do concessions in Richfield Park? And I was like, yes.
Holy shit! What a memory on that person.
Crazy. Yeah.
That's really specific.
Yeah.
They must have had a crush on you or something.
Maybe, yeah.
They
It was
must have
crazy.
really
I was
liked-
I was a pretty like eccentric concessions worker because I hated the job so much that I was just trying to like talk to everybody and
Yeah,
like,
okay.
try to make it fun.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you were known about town as the talkative
I guess
concessions
so.
guy. Not the best guy to be known as, I will say.
No.
The talkative concessions guy.
I wasn't talkative if there was a line, but if people were just looking to chill, I was looking to chill.
What were
know?
you? What kind of conversations could you make?
Talking
in-
movies, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's
What
not
movie
bad.
you see? Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing it to me
That's
right
started.
now.
so fun. I can see this.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, what is another example other than like career-wise where you've said like, why not?
I mean, there's the way I met my girlfriend is interesting, I think. And I've been with my girlfriend like almost 2 years now. A little over 2 years. We've known each other. We like DM'd each other when the pandemic first broke. She's from Ohio, and I said, "Why not? I'm gonna
Wait,
drive
what do you
out
mean we
there."
DM'd each other? Because that implies you sent the message at the same
No, no,
time.
no.
Who messaged first?
She did the whole react to it.
Oh,
on
I
Instagram
smart.
love it. I
story.
That's
love an
great.
aggressive female.
Yeah,
That's a great
And then
move.
I clicked on the profile. Was like, "Whoa." DM'd back, and then she lived in Ohio. I made the 8-hour drive. That was a why not moment.
Fuck yeah.
Oh my god.
And we've been together. She lives with me now in Jersey. and
Whoa.
yeah.
Wow. This is really why
Why
not. You
not?
literally are that guy. You live your
Honey.
life as a why not
Yeah.
guy.
Can you play that song that's like, why
Hillary
not?
Duff?
Yeah.
Yeah. People bring that up sometimes. Because people will say, like, hey, you've covered the fighting world. If you were a fighter, what would you walk out to? And I'll answer, why not? By Hillary Duff.
That's so good. That's so good, dude. God damn. You're so
Yeah.
prepared for this.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God. What would your wrestler name be?
You know, it's funny. When I was wrestling, I thought the name Lucas was cool because I'm a big Star Wars fan. I have a lightsaber tattooed on my arm.
Cool.
So I was like, George Lucas would be a cool homage to him, and I would keep the last name Fox. So I was like, Lucas Fox would be cool. And then my brother named his firstborn Luke after Luke, and I was like, oh, he stole my name.
What a fucker.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, after
Your
Luke Skywalker.
brother's a fucking dick, dude. What an
Wait, do you have the chorus? Wait, that's not.
No,
okay.
it's the verse.
It's coming. Dopamine's about to hit, guys. Oh my God. I love this song.
You know the.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
If you lose a moment.
I have a sister that's 9 years older than me, so yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
know
have
all
this.
the Hillary Duff stuff,
Yeah.
the Disney Channel stuff.
So
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It was pretty good. Well, you
It was
glaring at
pretty
me like I
good.
was disagreeing.
It is so good.
Yeah.
Lizzie McGuire movie is top movie for me.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
yeah.
I'm really into Hillary Duff.
You're grabbing the mic. It's really intense this moment.
Yeah.
Hillary Duff.
That's how I feel about her.
If you're listening, Hillary.
Hillary, I don't know what your situation is, but I am newly single.
Why not? Am I right?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Did she,
Put it out there,
Date
you know?
that guy from Good Charlotte.
Did she?
I
So
think-
she's
I
got
think
a little
she's-
bit of edge.
But that
I
was
think
in
she's
the-
married to him. I'll look it up.
No, she got engaged, and then there were those pictures of her blowing him right after he got down on one knee. Do you remember that?
That's
What?
They were on a balcony. He proposed, and there were paparazzi photos of like him proposing.
Okay.
And then like 2 minutes later, there were paparazzi photos of her on her knees, like blowing him.
What?
I
That
swear I'm not
sucks.
making this up.
Yeah, really. So how is that legal to just?
I don't think you could see anything, so it was like just her on her knees and him
Oh, so
laying
you had
down.
the whole thing. Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anything.
I'm looking for the
Oh, wow.
picture, but I only can find so far not her on her knees. Oh wait, I found it. Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait,
Whoa.
hold on.
I'm about to lose interest.
Yeah, true.
Bummer.
I think it's in the middle
Oh,
over there.
there's-
She's
a lot
so
of
pretty,
them.
though.
This guy right here somewhere doing this.
Oh,
There you go.
wow.
There you
Oh,
go.
man.
Yeah.
Close the shades. She was so excited, I guess.
Yeah,
It's not that
It's
bad.
a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
yeah. Why not?
Bummer.
What's a why not moment for you, Natalie?
A why not moment? Oh my God, so many. I mean, why not? I'm an impulsive and spontaneous person, so I do feel like I maybe should hold back on the why nots. I would say.
Really?
I would. Because, I've discussed this on my podcast, but I have had exes' names tattooed and move in with people too quickly and all that stuff. So romantically, I should be saying, why? Why?
That's good of you to
Why
recognize.
are we doing this?
Yeah.
I still have one name left I have yet to cover up. So, and it's not even from my last relationship. It's from the one before that. It's such a pain to get exes' names covered up. It's not a fun tattoo to get.
No.
It's not because it's emotional, but it's not exciting. You're just like, oh,
Yeah.
I left with another blob.
Yeah. And your tattoo artist knows exactly what happened.
Well, your tattoo artist is it's a fun hang, but
Yeah.
it's not like,
But you can't pretend it's something. You can't be like, oh, it's my dead dad, but I'm kind of over it now.
no, because he's like, well, you got your dead dad's name 4 other times.
Your dead dad had so many names, Natalie.
Well, my ex Jake and I got his name 5 times.
5 times.
Whoa, wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. 5 separate times? Because you got back together? Or you broke up
No.
Oh, that would be funny.
I've talked about this on my podcast, but it is, it's fine.
We don't have to rehash
No,
something
let's
like that.
rehash
Okay.
it.
Did you get all 5 covered up?
I got 4 out of the 5 covered
Okay,
up.
so that's the one.
We did it together. I mean, he had my name maybe 6 times.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Does he still have it, or did he cover it
No,
up
he
as well?
posted a picture of his new girlfriend covering it up.
Oh,
She is a
wow.
tattoo artist.
No, she
Oh.
did it at home with a stick and poke.
Okay.
And he wrote in the caption, Brittany covering my mistakes.
Oh.
Whoa, Jesus.
Isn't that
Christ.
so shady?
Yeah, that's
yeah, it's a
ridiculous.
direct insult. To
I don't
you.
think they're together anymore.
Unnecessary.
They're not.
No.
Oh, what a moron!
What?
He's gonna have
Oh,
someone to cover up
such
that
a-
one.
Right?
Yeah.
What's his name? I'm gonna shit talk him.
Well, so okay, we were engaged, and we
Oh.
had this. We had like we had this here. We had like the engaged one.
Yeah.
I had to get a fucking blob over it. It's tragic. Anyway, this is the one that I wasn't in a rush to cover it up because I was like, we loved each other. We were engaged. Like, I think that was like the biggest relationship that I've ever had, obviously. And then I was like, I hadn't looked at his Instagram in a long time. It was like 3 months after we broke up. And then I just decided to look one day. He had like this new girl in his bio. And he had a picture of her doing a stick and poke over this tattoo, and it said Brittany covering my mistakes. Then I looked at her profile, and it had the same picture, and I was like, "This bitch is crazy."
She posted it on her
Yeah.
profile?
Yeah.
Oh, unnecessary.
And I was like, "These people
so
are
weird.
these
For
people
a
are
collab
out of."
post too, isn't
There
it?
was a collab. I was like, "These people are out of control."
It has
people
better
are-
reach if you
Hey,
collab.
Of course, yeah.
These people are out of control.
Did they promote it too? Did you see promoted?
Sponsored. It was sponsored.
Getting Facebook targeted ads with it on there.
I couldn't believe it. And then as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm covering up every single Jake tattoo I have.
Yeah.
Except
yeah.
the one.
But then there's this one. and
Except
it's
the one
just-
that remains.
There's one that remains. It's just an annoying spot. There's nothing. I don't know.
Okay, it's hard to cover up, basically.
It's just all I can put there is a rectangle. I just have to do it.
Yeah. But is it going to be uglier than his name?
It's really pretty cursive font on the back of my leg. I never see it.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll come back. No, I'm kidding.
So when you're covering it up, is the logic just like, I don't want this name on me. I want to forget him.
Well, okay.
Or-
I had his name This was his name, his last name.
They did a good job with this
That's
one.
a great
So-
cover up.
That looks great.
Yeah.
When I had my next boyfriend, he's like, "You gotta do something
Yeah, it's
about
right
this,"
there.
because
Yeah, it's very.
I worked at a restaurant and they were like, it was his last name, which, and they're like, "What does this mean?" And I was like, "Oh, it's faith in Yiddish." And they're like, "Oh, okay."
What's his last name?
I'm not gonna say his
Well,
last
the last
name.
name is pretty
true.
revealing,
That's
yeah.
very true. Yeah. You're like, it's Paul. It's Jake Paul.
But yeah, so that's why I think I need to start going. Why?
Do you think you'll get another person's name tattooed
No,
on your
I
body?
dated someone afterwards and I did not get their name tattooed.
Okay.
So
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's progress.
Yeah.
But I also think even if you asked yourself why not, you might have come up with reasons.
True.
When you were getting it originally. Why or why not? I think you would have just thought more and been like, probably.
no, because
Maybe
can
I
I tell
shouldn't.
you how sexy it is to get someone's name?
Oh, is it?
Really? Just close your eyes and imagine your girlfriend got your name. You both have girlfriends.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I just go, Ellie.
No. No?
Ellie, you're
My
making a
name?
mistake here.
Really? You guys,
Well, now that we've had this
you
conversation,
guys gotta fall
certainly.
deeper in love. I mean,
I'm gonna get a cute little thing for my girlfriend.
See?
I'm gonna get some of her handwriting, like a little
Uh-huh.
heart or something. But like, I don't know, the name is just like a branding. It's like a property of or something.
Yeah, that's hot.
All right.
Just kidding.
It seems like you really think that. That's okay.
What?
It's okay to like really think it's hot.
It is.
I
Yeah.
get it. It's like the commitment and
It is
the,
commitment.
yeah, exactly. That is. I mean, it makes sense to
It
me.
is commitment.
Definitely.
Yeah. Especially if you have abandonment issues, you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're in.
Right. You
Yeah,
can't.
true.
You can't separate from me now.
True.
Because there's no way to stick and poke this name away.
Well, that's the thing. It was done with a real machine, and some of it even fell out. So I don't even think that stick and poke stayed. Actually, it was so funny. I got a tattoo recently, and some my friends at the tattoo artist, they're like, "Oh my god, Natalie, we tattooed someone the other week that went on a date with your ex."
What?
How did they find that out? I guess they knew the ex.
Yeah, because we used to get tattooed there together,
gotcha,
and I was
gotcha.
like,
Is it the
"No!"
same ex? It's Jake.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, no, this is too fun.
Yeah, it is.
Jake is like enemy of the pod, huh?
It was too fun.
Yeah.
No, he's not the enemy of the pod. Don't
I think
hurt
he
me.
is.
Oh. Very scary.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
no,
afraid
no.
of Jake.
Yeah, Jake, don't hurt me either.
I'll get your name tattooed if you don't hurt
I'll
me.
get you.
Let's all
I'll
get
do
his name
anything,
again.
Jake.
Let's
We're
get
held
his,
hostage by Jake on the air. Jake, please don't.
I have new merch. It says, I love Jake. Oh, fuck. No, but it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You never escape.
Do
Anyway.
you do it at the same time? Like they're doing you as
Yeah,
they're doing
one
him?
after the other.
and you're just looking at each other like this is forever.
No, you don't look at each
No?
other like this forever. You look at each other like, yeah, nothing matters. We're both going to die, and it'll be together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like punk rock.
That
Yeah,
is very
thank
punk
you.
rock.
See, Robbie, we're going to make you very punk rock.
I'm not punk rock at all.
Do you have any tattoos?
No tattoos. I'll never get a tattoo.
Why?
I'm opposed to tattoos.
Why?
Really?
I'm opposed to anything permanent.
Interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
What does your girlfriend feel about this?
Tattoos?
About you being opposed to anything permanent?
Oh, well, no, not like marriage or anything like that,
Oh.
but just anything on my body that's permanent.
What about
So
like?
that's just tattoos, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something else that falls in that category, I suppose.
What-
I'm not opposed to any kind of permanent shirt or pants. You're right. It's definitely just tattoos.
What else are you just seriously opposed to?
Well, here's why. It's because every time I made a decision like that, I've regretted it in the past. Like anytime I'm like, this is the decision, I'm always like, that was so dumb.
What's a decision that's similar?
like
to-
moving to New York to start comedy?
Why? You're doing great.
Yeah, I'm doing great, but it's like I could have just had a better life if I just started somewhere else, gotten good there, and moved to New York.
You're stuck
All
on
my
this,
friends
huh?
who, no, I'm stuck on it in terms of like it just was a mistake that I made that I shouldn't have done. It's like I'm learning from the mistake, you know. Feels like
It's a good way of
it feels like
looking
a
at
yeah. It's like
You're like
no, but it's
looking to productively work off that.
yes, exactly. It's not like because I can't change the past.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be upset about it. But I'm like now I know not to do that kind of mistake in the future.
Wow. So you really feel like starting in New York was a mistake?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Well, I was so poor. I mean, My life was bad. It was bad.
Tell us.
I would have breakfast, and then I wouldn't eat the rest of the day. And then right before I go to bed, I would have to eat a peanut butter sandwich, just peanut butter sandwich. Because if I didn't, I would wake up with severe stomach pain because I hadn't eaten all day. Because I had no money.
So that's why you feel like starting in New York was a mistake because you were so poor. Living in New York was so expensive.
Yeah,
Sounds
and
like
I just
the
didn't
first
need
8 months of me living in New York.
Yeah, exactly. But I just didn't
yeah.
need to do that, you know? I could have just done that, had a better come up elsewhere and then moved here with a little bit of money or...
Irish saves the day. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But that's a thing where I didn't even think, why not? I should have thought, why not? I think I would have made a better decision.
Yeah.
I feel like, but don't you feel like being here and pushing through that time positively affected your career?
No.
Really?
Yes. 100%.
That's
Because
interesting. I feel like it probably definitely did.
No, it didn't. Because, like, here's the thing. The people that I see who move here, like, 5 years in and they're already funny, like, all my friends that I know, like, people move from Chicago, Minneapolis, are already funny. They just skip that part. Because it's not that bad in Chicago when you come up, and it's not that bad in Minneapolis when you come up. It's not that bad anywhere when you come up. But then they just skip that part, and then they come here, and they're already funny, and they know people. Like, you can get good anywhere. You have to be here to get great, but...
Don't you feel like you skipped 5 years and instead you did 1 or 2 years of just pain?
Like 4, maybe.
It's like you skipped 2 shots and you got the Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you're right. You're definitely right.
Like, I feel
But-
like you skip the line a little bit when you come up in New York.
Oh, I felt like I was waiting in line for a lot longer than people. Because you didn't experience like people move here and then they just jump over you immediately, like from Chicago. They're just like in at every club immediately. They get like TV credits immediately.
Well, I didn't know people that didn't come up in New York because I've only lived here.
Yeah.
So in my experience, I just wasn't like keeping track of those people and like
Yeah.
the way that you might unhealthily compare yourself to others that like you see as your peers. Like I did that with people that are in New York. I
Yeah.
didn't do that with people that are from other states.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like I see you as someone that's doing very well.
Oh, I'm doing well now. Yeah. I'm doing great now.
Yeah, talk that shit, champ.
That's good.
Talk that shit.
And
Seriously,
Jake, if you're
yeah.
listening, you're a bitch.
And I loved you.
And I miss you, Jake. What?
It's a struggle.
Yeah, it's a struggle. Yeah, totally. I mean, how do you feel about your come up? Do you think it like you think you should start here and it makes you better?
I understand that like it's financially very difficult in New York and it's competitive,
Yeah.
but I just feel like I just have so much gratitude for the amount of stage time in New York. Like when I lived in LA for about 10 months and there was not even just stage time, like there's barely any open mics.
Yeah.
There's barely
Yeah.
any resources. There are barely people that give a shit about comedy. There are barely anyone that's doing it for the right reasons. It's just actors being like, yay, this is a fun experiment for my acting class. And I'm going to go tell my teacher afterwards. And, oh, I have an audition for, and so this will be a fun experiment. Like, it's just not, no one's writing material at
Yeah.
all. They're just talking about their days. And I just feel like it's almost a disrespect to the art.
Yeah, it definitely is a disrespect to the art.
That's
for sure.
why I'm just like, I have just so much pride and respect for like New York comedy that it is a struggle and it's very painful. But, you know, someone told me, Jessica Curson, she said to me, every bad thing that happens to you makes you funnier. And it's true. And
Yeah.
it's something that I say to myself all of the time.
Yeah.
Like that pain that you went through, like, I hate to say it, but it made you funnier.
Mm-hmm.
It did.
Well, you didn't see me before. I mean,
You
I was so
probably
funny.
sucked.
I was so bad. Yeah, so bad.
Like
But-
bad things make you funny because it makes you give up. It makes you not care.
Yeah, that's true.
It makes you think I have nothing anymore. I'm fucking eating peanut butter sandwiches. I have nothing to live for. Fuck all of this. I don't have anything. Well, I'm just gonna do whatever, and then you give it everything. That's when you have nothing left. Then you have no choice but to just fucking be funny.
Yeah, it's true. The pain becomes useful. That you can use that for sure. But I still think like you don't. I just didn't need unnecessary pain.
Sure.
Like I think you can do that I see both sides of it, but I think just for me personally, it was the worst period of my life by a lot, and I'm like I
sorry.
didn't need to do that. It could have been better elsewhere, and that's not like I'm not like mad or sad about that, but that's what it was like.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have regrets?
I have regrets.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have dated my ex.
Do you regret getting the tattoos?
Jake was fine. My other
Jake was
ex, my last ex, it was the worst 10
You
months
got
of my
his
life.
name?
I didn't get his name, but
Okay.
I mothered his child.
Oh.
Yeah.
Um,
So you had a kid?
I did.
You really did?
Yeah.
Wow, congrats.
Thanks. Robbie, when did you take the plunge and move into New York City?
So I don't live here anymore. I just moved out
Oh, right.
back
You live
to
in
Jersey
Jersey.
City.
Yes.
Yeah. But I moved to New York when I was just turned 19, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was weird. I moved in with like a sales girl that worked at Barstool just because I needed a roommate.
Uh-huh.
And she moved out within like 6 months. She wasn't there very often. And then I moved in with like Trent, who works at Barstool, and he's the best. He's like one of my best friends. So we lived together for years until I met my current girlfriend, and then we moved back to Jersey together.
Wow.
Was that a good decision, you think?
Oh,
moving?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do
I
they
love
have-
living in Jersey.
Oh, okay. I meant moving to New York.
Oh, yeah, because it was necessary for work. Like
Yeah.
at that time, you needed to be around Barstool pretty often. Like,
Yeah.
you know, being 20 minutes away from the office was such a plus over people that weren't, because
Right.
you could just get in for a live stream for anything that's happening.
Right.
If you get mentioned on a podcast and you need to run in, you can make it in. But at this point, like since the pandemic, everything's a little more spread out, doing everything a little more via Zoom. So like being in Jersey City isn't really a big hindrance.
Right.
What advice do you guys have? Like, I feel like there are a lot of people right now that are genuinely just like struggling, that are just having a hard time dealing with the fact that life is painful. Like, what advice, like you're talking about, like, how did you get through that time? And like, how did you get through the times where things have been shitty? Like, what mental techniques did you use?
Do you have a thing that you say in this portion, like a consistent mantra? Like, what would you say in this, given this question?
What would I say?
Yeah.
Well, I just asked you.
I just was buying time because I don't really know, but
You can go first.
Yeah.
I go with distractions all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I deal with anxiety, depression like crazy.
Yeah.
Not as much anymore, but growing up I did a lot, and it was all like distractions. It was listening to podcasts, watching my favorite movies, TV shows, like almost the fake it till you make it stuff. But like the stuff that would like make me happy, I would find that. It was wrestling for a time, going to wrestling shows in the area, going to concerts, going to live shows, stuff like that. And like, you just got to tread through and distract yourself as much as you possibly can. Like, listen to podcasts before you go to sleep so you're not alone with your thoughts. Fall asleep to them with the sleep timer on, like all of that kind of stuff. I distract myself from the thoughts.
Do you feel like there was a moment where you're like, okay, I can stop distracting myself. I can be alone with my thoughts? Or like, where do you feel like you made that transition? And like, how do you cope with kind of just like the loneliness that's like coming from this time? Like, we're still sort of in a pandemic. It's post-pandemic. Like, I think a lot of people are lonely. And I think there is like a community of people that, you know, you find online, but then also you kind of start to feel like nauseated from always being like around screens or just like always being on your phone. Like, I feel personally like my entire community is online and I don't really have a community in person. So when I want to take a step away from my phone, I'm just like completely isolated. So how would you deal with that?
I'm lucky to have like a great family, and my family's all in Jersey for the most part. So like I go hang with them and like put the phone away for a while, hang out with. I got a niece and a goddaughter and like a niece and nephew in Michigan, and I like FaceTiming them, even though that is the phone. But like I distract myself with my family and friends, and like I like getting out and doing stuff, going on dates, stuff like that.
What about you?
it's really good. Like, connect with the people you love is
Definitely.
kind of the
Spend a lot of time with them, yeah. And
Yeah.
like when you're in that time, like not being distracted, like spending that time with them.
That's
you
so
know?
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can't distract yourself from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really true. I think for me it was it was actually kind of similar. It was like open up, like tell people
Yeah.
what's happening, because before I told anyone, it was like it was this isolating thing.
Yeah.
You felt like disconnected from people, and you felt like it was just happening to you, and then you tell other people, and then even if it's not happening to them, they know someone's happened to, or they relate to the feeling rather than the actual experience that you're going through. And I think the biggest thing is you have to talk about it, because if you don't, then you actually are isolating yourself. But when you talk about it, then you connect with people over your isolation, which is a form of connection, and then you're not isolated anymore. But the most important thing, you just have to tell people what's happening and how you feel.
That is truly like the most important thing.
I feel like it's very difficult. Like for me personally, I feel like I have this beautiful community online. Like I have this community that like I've never been more grateful for a community. I love my online community so much, but I don't have like people in my life that I feel like are good friends or like people that I can connect with. Like I just don't, like I have like a few close friends or like I have my mom, but I just feel like when it cut, like at the end of the day, there's not really anybody that I can like have lunch with or like hang out with. And I feel like it's very, yes, like I feel like that about like Ani and Irish, but like at the end of the day, it's very difficult when, and I know there are a lot of people like this, and that's why so many people go on their phones, so many people are like part of these communities, but it's just sort of like, and I don't really want to like go meet someone and have and like bond over the fact that we're both alone. Like I don't want to do that. And also I'm just not, I don't even have time for that. So it's just kind of this weird, it's just like a weird place. Like I think a lot of people deal with that kind of loneliness where it's like, I am fulfilled socially, I guess, online, but like in person, like I really do feel alone. And it's like a weird thing for people to understand.
Yeah, I get that. I totally, have you read any like Buddhist texts?
Actually, in high school, I used to, but I haven't recently.
Okay, because that would kind of, I think that might help a little bit. Do you meditate or?
No.
Yeah, because I think both of those things are what really helped me a lot.
I journaled 1 page this week, and I was like, yes.
That's good.
Progress.
Yeah, that is good.
It's actually so hard. Like,
Yeah.
I was so hard to journal.
So difficult.
I have not done a full page like in a long, long time. I've been doing only a couple sentences.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
very
exactly.
difficult. And like as someone, I'm like a serial monogamist. It's difficult to not have a boyfriend. And I know that like I don't want to just have a boyfriend because I want a boyfriend. And I want that kind of company. So I'm just trying to be like, all right, I'm here with me and my journal that I wrote 1 page in. So let's go 2 pages tonight. Let's see if we can do it. Like I feel when I'm writing, like in my journal, I feel like, why is it so hard to write in a journal? Why?
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
I tried to do like the gratitude thing for a while, write all the things you're grateful for, and by like day 6, you're like, I'm writing all the same stuff. What am I doing here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I do that every day, every morning when I wake up.
I started doing it, and I was just like, every day I'm waking up and writing family, friends, work, dogs. Like,
right.
Yeah.
But that's what I found. I found the longer it is, like the longer that the thing I'm grateful for is, the more likely it is that I thought about it and I actually felt gratitude in that moment. Because it's not, because that's what I realized is sometimes I write it just because I know I need to, quote unquote. Yeah. But then I realize I'm not thinking about what I'm writing. Like I'm grateful for my girlfriend, but I'm not thinking about specifically why am I grateful for her and how does she make my life better. And then when I think about that, then I write like a much longer thing that I'm grateful for, because I'm actually experiencing. I'm like, oh my God, it would be so much worse as I'm typing if I didn't have her. So I think for me, it's like the longer you think about it, and I know it's always the same things.
Yeah.
But like, what specifically in that moment do you feel
point.
about that person or your family? You know?
Yeah.
I also
you
have
gotta get back
tried
into
just like stream of consciousness. So like if you start with, I don't know what the fuck literally right. I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking right now. And just how you're feeling, like physically feeling.
Yeah.
Like focus on, I'm touching, like my butt is touching the seat that I'm in. And as you write that, other thoughts pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you guys do in terms of like, so I always think about how Ani, like someone will text me at like 11 p.m. and I'm hanging out with Ani, and Ani will be like, no, it's not business hours. You don't have to respond. You only have to respond between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. And like, I love that. And I also love the idea of like not looking at your phone first thing in the morning or right before you go to bed and all of that stuff. And when we were driving to the Upstate gig, you were like, I post on Instagram and then I leave it.
Yeah.
What kind of guidelines do you leave for yourself for social media? You guys both have big social media presences. What kind of like rules do you set for yourself in terms of like screen time and your phone and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty horrible at it. I'm checking it all the time. I'm like so paranoid that like something's gonna happen and I'm gonna miss it, and my boss is gonna be texting me, and I'm like too anxious to put it down.
Yeah. See, that's difficult because you do it for work essentially,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And like a lot of being at Barstool is the social media,
Yeah.
even sometimes more so than the
course.
blog or
Yeah.
like the videos. Like it's the interaction back and forth.
Yeah, totally. So do you just stay on it?
Yeah.
You manage. Does it make you anxious though? Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, it
Definitely.
does.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that?
I mean, I don't know. Like it's tough to manage, I
Yeah.
think. Like being on it all the time for work, but also like wishing that I wasn't. I don't know. I've gotten better at it lately, like putting my phone down for a while.
Yeah.
And watching a movie and not looking at it or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, like the first couple months I was at Barstool, I love going to the movies. I like didn't go to any movies because I was like, I'll get a text and I'll have to leave the theater and I'll have to go to work and I'll have to blog something. Like I was so paranoid about it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What about you? I feel like you're very good about it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, I did a thing where I lock myself out of my phone. So there's a screen time app on your iPhone where you can set a limit for each application for how much you can be on it every day.
Huh.
So I selected all the social media apps, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and the Messenger app, and I can only be on them for 20 minutes a day.
Wow.
And most people
He's so impressive.
most people do like the passcode, right?
Yeah.
Like, but then you just know your passcode, so you just type it in. I just gave that to my girlfriend, so I can't go on it anymore. The whole day, the rest of the day, I can't go on social media.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare.
It's
for
a
me.
girlfriend's
Yeah, you
wet
can't do
dream.
that.
I'd be like, what's happening right now?
Yeah, you
Like,
literally can't do
when
that.
I went to London recently and I couldn't figure out how to get like the Wi-Fi to connect or whatever.
And you're like,
I had like just the ride from Heathrow to my hotel was like an hour, and I was like having a full-on panic attack because I couldn't get like texts or anything.
Yeah.
It's like, what is happening right now? It was bad.
yeah, exactly.
So, okay, I was stalking you on Instagram, and I
Yeah.
saw that you decided in the new year to post 2 clips a week.
yes,
And then I saw that one of your friends also, is this a thing that you decided with a friend? Like, we are going to post 2 clips a week?
no, I just decided.
You
that.
decided and someone copied you.
Yeah, of
That's fine.
course.
And then it's funny because you're like, whatever, my clips will do better.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
kidding.
exactly. Well, I don't care. It's like the social media and what you were talking about before, which is like comparing yourself to the people around you
Yeah.
and your contemporaries. Like I only get in that mode when I'm on social media,
Right.
Because if I'm not seeing how they're doing, then I don't think about them because I'm living my own life,
Right.
And it actually really helps to not be on social media. I think
Right.
I literally didn't even know one of my friends did that. Like you
I
just
saw
informed me
that
of
and
that.
I was like, oh, wow, because I think it was a friend that you had mentioned doing something with in the car. So I was like, oh, wow, maybe they decided to do that together. And then you saying that, it's so funny. But
Who is that?
I don't remember their exact
Okay,
name,
okay.
but you mentioned their name in the car, and I said, "Oh, I don't know who that is," and you're like, "Oh, whatever." And then I was just like scrolling,
That's how blasé. Who cares?
and
You
then
don't
I
need
was
to
just
know.
I was just scrolling and like in a deep dive, like because you like do research on your guests before and stuff like that. That's
Yeah.
why. And yeah. Anyway, I think that was like a really smart move for you to put. So you essentially, you're such a good example because you really do. You post 2 clips a
Yeah.
week. And you leave them, and they all do really well. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, when they post content that is exposed to a large audience, there's
Yeah.
this anxiety
Oh,
to
yeah.
check
Yeah,
it.
I know.
Like I have a very big anxiety when I post something.
Yeah.
I want to check the comments. I want to see how it's being received.
Yeah.
The feeling of putting something out there and not checking to
I
see
know.
if it's being received well or not. Like,
Yeah.
how do you deal with that?
Well, I deal with that. When stand up, I think it's easier. Like in a podcast, I do think it's much more difficult because there's no feedback mechanism right now. But when we're doing stand up, like when a joke's good because it's killing in the room and it kills every time.
But
you
like,
know?
say you're posting a clip
then,
or something.
So then when I post the clip, I go, I don't need, well, it helps to not be able to check it, but I just go, it already kills. So if you think it sucks, then you're just wrong. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it works every time. You
It's
just
like
be an
wrestling.
idiot.
Like people will criticize it, but if the crowd is reacting, it's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
exactly.
how many times have you posted something and then like a week later, for some reason, it like blows
Yeah.
out? You know what I mean? Like that happens, I feel like often.
Yeah, it's not immediate. You think
Yeah.
it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But
You
it's
can
not.
also set a limit on when you check your comments. Like post it and
Oh,
then I'll check it
Comments.
in
You
an hour.
should
you don't read the
never
comments.
check comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
never.
I
You
read
do?
the comments I don't read the comments on TikTok. I don't read them on Twitter.
Yeah.
I read them on Instagram sometimes, so I should stop.
In terms of when you post clips,
Oh,
or
clips?
just every time.
You're looking.
Because I was gonna say clips. Sometimes I do check, but like for anything else, that's
It's bad.
the worst.
I will never forget, like, I posted a photo, and should I not tell this story? No, I won't tell it. Anyway, it's the end of the podcast.
I think they listen to the podcast. That's why.
Wait, what do you? Okay, whatever.
I know what you're gonna say.
All right. The end of the podcast. What I like to do is this.
I really want to know. Now I really want to know. It's so interesting. Okay, we can talk about it.
The trauma of this story will make you check.
Oh, really?
We're gonna move on.
Was it like your grandma died and you didn't know and they had to...
I posted my grandma is dead, and then it turned out she was alive.
That'd be crazy.
Okay, so I, Natalie Cuomo, am obsessed with astrology, tarot, oracle cards, and
Do you want me to take that?
Can move
just take everything away from me. And it's so funny because I have a segment where I like to pull an oracle card at the end of every episode. And I like to have a new deck every episode. And last episode, I didn't have a new deck. And everyone's like, you could have just used an old one. And I didn't. So then I went out and I got 4 new decks.
Nice. There we go.
I went to so many different stores, and then someone gifted me one. And
Committed.
I turned into a full witch. And honestly, I think the witch community should be more inclusive.
Why not?
What? They weren't inclusive? Witches?
Well, I went to the witch store in the
Yeah.
Lower East Side,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yep,
that
another one.
place, it's not very inclusive. It's you could just feel it's a little judgment in there. I don't know. It's not inclusive. It's not. Maybe it is.
don't know.
Shoot me.
Like this bitch doesn't know her way around the
I don't
witch
know.
store.
You don't
Was it
necessarily
that kinda-
you don't feel welcomed by the witches.
Yeah, but that almost...
But they're witches.
It's almost
Witches
makes
don't
sense,
have a
you
welcoming
know?
vibe.
It's like a frat for women who do magic.
I'm a woman who does magic, and I should have been welcomed.
We'll clip this and send it to them.
Perfect.
They
yeah.
don't deserve it. But anyway, I went there and I got this one. I also went, oh my God. Then there's another store that I went to, and I went in and I said, can I have an oracle deck? Do you guys have oracle decks? And I swear to God, this is real. They said, go next door. So then I went next door and I said, do you guys have oracle decks? And they said, you'll have to go next door. So then I went next door and I said, do you guys have oracle decks? And they're like, go to the back. And then they had like more oracle decks than I've ever seen in my life. It was crazy.
That's so weird. They're like, how badly do you want the oracle?
I know.
You're going to have to jump through hoops.
And then this was the same day I went to the witch store. And then I went to see a friend, and they gave me a deck. So that day I got
Wow, you got a bunch.
4 decks. So this was the first one I got that day.
Is this your friend? Oh, you bought this one. That's
So
not your
this
friend's
one is
deck.
from the witch store.
Nice.
It's called Raven's Wand Oracle. All right.
Let's see the cover a little bit better. Can you,
Yes,
like, put it on the
Oracle
tray?
cards are like
Perfect.
Oracle decks are like tarot decks. They are just a little bit more ambiguous. It doesn't need to have like a certain number of cards in the deck. The artist can just be kind of like more free with what they do with it.
Okay.
I like to have it sitting here for the whole episode, but I'm a dumbass and I forgot it in the car. So Irish went and got it. And so maybe this has the energy from half of the episode.
Fair enough.
Yeah, true.
I kind of wanted to read the back because there's like a lot of characters in this. And they're all from Stephen Hutton's Dark Raven Chronicles trilogy.
Okay.
Do we know what that is?
No idea.
I'll look it up.
I'm very excited. So there's sexy witches in this.
Okay. Wait,
Very.
so you draw this and it's for you. You're
No,
drawing
this
a
is
card
for
you?
the episode. This
Okay.
is like, did
Oh,
this
for the actual.
did this encapsulate like what we talked about in the
Oh,
episode?
okay. That's really fun. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to shuffle the cards, Robbie?
I'm not a good shuffler, but I could try. I can't do the bridge thing.
Also, they're really huge cards. It's
They're
hard to shuffle
massive.
cards that big.
That's horrible.
It looks like it's a bunch of Oracle decks that also are novels. So,
Ooh.
yeah, pretty cool.
Interesting. It's really well drawn. I'll say that.
Yeah, the art on these are so pretty.
Boom.
Ooh, is that the
Oh,
card that
that
wants
fall
us?
out?
It's gotta
Does
be.
it
It's
fell
gotta
out?
be. It's gotta be. It's
You have
gotta
to
be.
pick the one that
That's
jumps
That
out.
was
definitely
pretty
it.
good.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's definitely it.
Commemoration.
What does that mean?
Well,
Interesting.
Jamie, will you
Oh,
do,
there's a book.
will you
okay.
do the honors?
Oh,
I see
oh,
now.
okay.
Actually, I
I
could
shall.
see this being part of it. We were talking about things that are permanent, like tattoos and names.
Oh, yeah.
Commemoration. So do you want me to read the whole thing?
Yes.
We often.
Can we prop this up? Can I do it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, you
my
got it.
God, she
Well
did it.
done.
Wow.
nobody move.
We often commemorate events that nobody living now remembers, and while this might honor past sacrifice, sometimes it keeps other things alive too. Here, Kitty Watson prepares for a feast, marking a struggle between witches and the Illuminata. Yeah. There was a great deal of bravery that terrible day, but can our thanks be truly separated from old wounds? Oh, yeah. Old hates can easily pass down the generations disguised as righteous gratitude, so be mindful to remember the courage and not the aggressor. Be inspired by the rabbits. They happily nibble fungi toxic to humans, but the poisons seem to have no effect on them. Instead, they digest only the nutrients. Interesting. I feel like that does connect.
Tell me.
Because I feel like we were talking about the fungi that's toxic to humans. The poisons seem to have no effect on them. I felt like that is sort of talking about like this struggles that we go through, and then digest only the nutrients. So like, how do you learn from the struggles that we go through? And that's kind of what we were talking about.
You did ask
get
a lot
funnier.
how do you deal with that. That's like literally that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rabbits were no
gratitude.
selling the fungi.
They were no selling the fungi. And that was not a fun guy, let me tell you.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Fuck.
I quit.
Robbie, where can people find you?
Robbie Barstool on Twitter and just on Barstool Sports. My Mom's Basement. It's my podcast.
Do you live in your mom's basement?
No, but you know.
Oh, I
The
live in my
stuff
mom's
we talk about in our mom's
I
basement.
live in my mom's basement.
You should do the
That's-
podcast like My Mom's
Robbie-
Basement from My Mom's Basement.
I hope it's temporary.
Robbie, that's cultural appropriation.
He kind of
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
I mean, I live there. I breathe there.
Yeah. I used to, and we talk about the stuff that I used to talk about when I was there. You know, I never really grew up.
Well, what do you mean?
Like we talk about comic books and Marvel movies and nerdy stuff like that. Star Wars.
Oh, on the pod.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
When did you leave the basement?
When I was 19, when I moved to New York.
19 is
Yeah.
pretty fucking young to leave the basement.
It is.
Pretty young.
Yeah. I go back often. You know.
I'm 27 and proud.
But if you're under 30, you don't have to leave the basement really.
I've
Once
left
you're over
a
30,
few
it's a
times,
little.
I
but
moved out when I was 27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much more normal now.
the thing is, Jamie, where can people find you?
At Jamie Wolf Comedy on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. At Jamie Wolf Comedy.
I hear a strange bird told me that you post 2 clips a week.
That's right. 2 clips of my stand-up comedy, and they're quite funny.
Wow, amazing. And as always, you can find me at Natalie Cuomo _, youtube.com/Natalie Cuomo, twitch.tv/Natalie Cuomo. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back next week.